According to data published by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, that nationally in 2014 to 2015, the financial year, 45% of prisoners that were released from custody in Australia were returned to prison for reoffending within 2 years.
Brooks's existence is no longer confined behind the walls of Goulburn Prison. This morning, the ex-bikie, convicted on drugs charges, emerged carrying his personal belongings as a free man. Brooks had been released on parole earlier this year, but it was parole that he breached and became a fugitive. Then he taunted police with a series of catch me if you can style videos he posted online.
Come and find me. I challenge you. I still haven't been caught and I'm still here. Get your together, you still haven't found me, you
I guess I got caught, didn't I?
Detectives eventually arrested Brooks in South Australia. He was extradited to New South Wales and ordered to serve the remainder of his sentence here at Goulburn Prison. But the man who describes himself as a Ned Kelly-style figure now wants reform to the education programs within the prison system.
As far as education in there, education funding's been cut. It's a joke. Some education will boost their self-esteem, which will, if they're educated and when they get outside, they'll move on to bigger and better horizons.
Get your together, you still haven't found me, you okay, I'm not that hard. I'll give you a clue. I'm not in Fiji.
Now, former inmate compares himself to Ned Kelly as a political prisoner who wants reform.
There's a lack of facilities in here for rehabilitation, such as education.
Do you feel rehabilitated?
I didn't think there was anything wrong with me in the first place.
As you can see, I was part of that 45% that was statistically doomed to be returned back to prison. I spent 2016, 2017 in prison, ended up with a year parole on release. I lasted 9 months on parole out of that year. I jumped through their hoops, I turned up to the meetings, I done what they demanded, but then I was accepted into university in another state and I wanted to leave and do it. They wouldn't allow me, so I left anyway. They breached my parole. I believe in reform. I believe in having a fresh start and a new leaf. Unfortunately, the system was working against me. That's why I turned it on and rebelled against the system. The general public has no real understanding of the struggles that people are going through after being released for prison. They stereotype and they judge. The amount of hatred that I caught, the backlash, comments in under media stories, comments on social media when the media put up the story in the way they represented me, it was disheartening. But I knew it was going to happen. I knew what I was doing. I was called an idiot. I was called a scumbag. I was called a typical bikie, and I was doing this because there was a flaw in the system. Guys who get out, a lot of them want to work. A lot of them want to change their life, but they're persecuted and they're knocked back from employment. They're socially disadvantaged, and no one helps you. Parole doesn't try and help you. Inside, they've cut the education funding, and it is a mess. So I'll include a couple of screenshots of the comments that I got, not too much, and it was very hard, but I was doing this for a reason. And now it's a few years later, and I can talk about it properly, and hopefully we can make change. So here's a good old media machine, hamming it up, saying one-time drug dealer, ex-bikie, Brooks Meister, taunting police, getting some of my photos that were on my Facebook and making me out to be a monster. They don't report that I was well behaved for the last 9 months. I was trying to improve my life and move on and go to university. The media done their job well and stirred up the public. Here's some of the criticisms I copped. First class idiot. A scumbag. Always be a scumbag, but it's actually scam bug. You can't spell. Not the brightest. Ha ha ha, idiot. Scumbag. Dropkick. What angers me more is not the comments. I can handle criticism. It's the ignorance of these people. They just want to believe everything the media throws at them, and they base their opinion. They don't know me. They don't know what I was doing and what I was going through. As you have just seen, there was plenty of adversity. I was demonised by the media. I was receiving hate and criticism by the public. Parole weren't able to help, didn't help. There was no programs in place. And I could either just keep going on this dead-end, nowhere course, or I could take action myself. The best bet was to back myself, analyse my problems, figure out a solution, set a plan in motion, and just carry it out, execute it. So I'm going to share that with you now. At this point in the video, I'll get used to like, subscribe, share, comment, and and all the usual stuff you see every content creator on YouTube ask of you guys. Why? Because it helps the channel grow. I feel like I have an important message to get out there to who needs to hear it. Okay, after that, things didn't get better immediately. To tell you the truth, things got worse. It went from a bad to worse, and I don't want to blame really for a lot of it than myself. You know, it's from bad decisions and just not really keeping my mind stuck in the problems, keeping my mind stuck in the all the negative and chaos that was around that I surrounded myself with. COVID kicked in, and we started getting isolated and locked down. I'd gone back into the club world by choice, thinking I can't get away from it because I was constantly harassed by the police. I thought, well, I'm going to get harassed if I'm in there or not, so I may as well. And it was a bad decision on my behalf because it wasn't what it was. And COVID lockdowns made it worse. I ended up getting a firearm prohibition order slapped on me, which basically takes away all my rights of what's called LEPRA in New South Wales, Law Enforcement Protocol Responsibilities Act. I've got no rights. They can enter premises I'm in with no warrant and just come in and just make my life hell. They can detain me without charge, and so things got worse. And I firmly believe that was retribution from the task forces for me launching my own little war on them. That's fair enough, okay? I poked them, they poked back. It is what it is. But my life got worse. And then with COVID, we're locked down, isolated. I'm not going to lie. I started abusing drugs again because we're just in there doing nothing. I was playing my guitar, getting high. It's not like we could go down the park. We couldn't go to the pub, or we couldn't get out. It's not an excuse, but I lost myself in there. Like, things weren't pretty, and also at that time, like, we weren't seeing the brothers disfranchised. Particularly me, because I wasn't even in a state where I was still active in the club that I was in. I'd come back down to my home state, and things just got worse. And do you know what? We can't change unless we want to change or we have reason to change. And if you keep hitting rock bottom and keep getting right down there and keep staying down there, well, you've got no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame the system. You can't blame anything but yourself, because you know what? We know what the system is. It's there. It's designed to make us fail and to keep us oppressed. That's how it is. The public, we know they're going to judge us coming out of that world. They've got their perceptions about us, and it's not entirely their fault. Well, I'm not making excuses for them, because they can learn to think, but the media and everything was against people like me who are over in the criminal world, underworld, or with prisoners and that. But we had ourselves to blame. And you know what? I stayed there, and I felt lost. I couldn't see no end. And I had a fallout with those I was meant to be close to, and this and that. And in the end, you know what? I made a decision. I can't handle this no more. I can't handle the police harassment. I can't handle the bullshit. I can't handle politics. I can't handle. Life's not enjoyable. Something had to give, and I did. I just left. No one knew where I was. No one. Didn't tell my family and friends or no one. I just left, and I needed a time to sort myself out. I end up buying a yacht. I was sitting on the waterways down Sydney, isolated but in the city. COVID was on. I went to shore every now and then, got my food and whatever, and I removed myself away from all drugs. I had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time, not to self-loathe, but to question. I looked deep within, because that's where the answers were. Was I doing what truly made me happy? And music at that time brought me joy, so I invested in music and equipment and myself, and I absorbed myself into my music. I had none of those influences around. Like, unless someone wanted to swim out and try and drag me off and get me up to no good, well, that was an option with COVID anyway. A bit hard to swim with your mask on. But anyway, I removed myself from there. And I maintained that. I only contacted people after a little bit. I contacted people that were close to me. And I was like that for a year and a half before I come out of my self-exclusion from the world, basically. And I put myself in the position that I could choose who I talk to. And I'm not saying the people were bad around me. I've said it before, they were bad for me, they were bad influences, because I hadn't developed the strength yet to be able to control my, do you know what my, it's like impulses and that, and you can't really start to get control over impulses and bad habits until you do a lot of reflection and figure out who you are. I decided that I had enough. I wanted to change. I'd always had a good heart. I always loved people. I'm not a malicious person who's out to hurt people. I had to find out in myself again. I went off track for a while. I wasn't like a cruel, nasty person, but I wasn't the person I was happy with. I wasn't the person I was meant to be. I didn't want to be look like some lawless, irresponsible, cruel, cold-hearted criminal, because I wasn't. So I started rediscovering who I was meant to be, and I've done a lot of questioning. And it's a long process. It's a long process because we've guys like myself and that, we didn't just become who we were overnight. A lot of it stems back to our childhood. Because from our childhood, we've carried a lot of anger. It's a lot of weight. It's trauma. And we need to really look inside and deal with it, or we can never move forward. We'll always have these problems. We'll blame elsewhere. As soon as we learn to let go of our blaming the system, blaming our circumstances, blaming this, blaming that, and start to accept responsibility for our own lives and for our own directions, through decisions we make, through thoughtfulness, through not acting rashly, making wise decisions, things will change. I slowly learned how to change the way I thought. I had to change my thinking. I couldn't think like I had been thinking for the last so many years. And a lot of those thoughts come from paranoia, from looking over my shoulder, from from the lifestyle I was living. It prevented me living any kind of lifestyle. And I had to let all of that go. And it is a process. And eventually, that those clips you saw there, and when I walked out of Goulburn jail was the last jail I done. That was in 2018. I was released. I have not had a charge, any police interest in me, except when they come put the firearm, the prohibition order, and I remained around the area that I was in. I was local to. When I left the area and got away from everything, left all my associations behind, left all the chaotic world of drugs, crime, jail, and association behind, everything slowly changed, and I finally felt free again. I felt free of a weight I was carrying, anxiety, paranoia. I still got depression, but I could deal with it. Depression, people get that regardless of, especially the modern climate, but we can deal with it. And if we've got a clearer head, and our head's not filled with anger and hate and blame, we can empower ourselves. We reinvent ourselves into a loving being. And when we think and act with love, the world changes. Our whole life's changed. It's powerful. So this is a work in progress for me. I've still got a long way to go. I'm not going to tell people I'm perfect, but I've learned some lessons along the way. I've got a powerful message for people. I've had transformation inside. I've done things I would have never done in my past life, and I started going to church on Sundays, and had those whether. Okay, I'm not going to talk from a Christian point of view, but from a positive mindset point of view. You're around positive people, you're around good people, and it's if you associate with people who are pure of heart, good intentions, they're not out to manipulate you, they're not out to deceive you, they're just out there out of love and out of humanity, your life will change. And when you act back in the same ways, it's powerful. It doesn't mean you have to be a sucker and people can put over you and walk over you. You can't, because being kind is also being strong, and being kind to people is also saying no, so they don't become dependent and they learn. We have to learn to do things ourselves and find answers ourselves. We've become too reliant on some council or a system or a handout or some safety net that this government uses to bribe us with. We've got to learn to be ourselves and self-sufficient, and not only just financially, self-sufficient emotionally. We've got to learn to let go of our egos, and these are all the things it's a learning. It takes time, but it will never happen unless you start on that journey, and you've got to make that decision. Your life will change and be absolutely different. So I'm growing right before your eyes with this channel, and I have a message, and I'm getting out there. Great things are happening to me. Positive things are coming right back at me because I'm thinking in a positive way. I very rarely get angry. I get a little bit disheartened, but I know how to deal with it. I'm not pushing the anger out there. If you push anger out there in this world, that's what will come back at you. The negative, all that energy, all that built up hate, those knots in your stomach, they'll go out there and they'll bounce back at you. But when you're going out there looking through different eyes, when you actually can see people, you can see people are struggling. It's so that you can sense it when you're looking. You're not out there looking for self. You're out there looking as a sentient being that's growing spiritually and is aware. All of a sudden, this government that with the lockdowns and the police and all that, they just disappear. They come secondary. It's like I'm not focusing at them, and they're still there. I'm sure they're still doing those things. I'm sure, you know why? Because that's what people are focusing on. So they're caught there in that world. I'm not focused there. Like, they can walk past me and it doesn't even register. Before I'd be, oh fuck, and that affects you. It puts you in a bad state of mind, makes you paranoid, and you lash out, and haven't got any of that anymore. I've had my health issues and that, and I've come to peace with that as well. I haven't. Nothing seems to worry me now. Once you let go of all that stuff inside, it's dragging you down. All that, those knots and the darkness and the hate and the uncertainty. And once you find acceptance and you become at peace with yourself, once you learn to let go of your ego, like, I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I don't need to argue about it. You know, I've even got to the stage where I don't even, facts and figures, they don't faze me. I survive off my intuition and my awareness and my not an analytical way of thinking, because logic's not logic to me, because there's a lot of things in this world we can't explain with simple black and white answers. I survive off just energies and awareness and tapping in. Like, I can sense if something's right or wrong, and I just go by what's inside, my gut feeling. And that's what I suggest a lot of people do as well. And if I listen to my gut feeling, I would have never got mixed up in the world I was in, because I knew. But that was half the excitement for me then. I like to push boundaries and see where I could go. And I certainly went somewhere I didn't. I started out in one place and I ended up in a world I could have never imagined. But now it's made me who I am. A whole lot of it. I've met some great people along the way. Just because I was mixed up in what people see as a dark world, there's some good souls there, some great souls there. I've got some things coming up that I'm in collaboration with an author, and there's a book coming out I won't go too much into it yet, but I'll slowly start to trickle some of it out. But it has been started. We started recently. I'm excited about that. I'm looking at doing some public speaking and motivational stuff when I can, and just on the things I've learned. And it's like, it's not. I'm not going to rock up to a hall and show someone how to get a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, because I'm not about that. I haven't got that. I can't show them how to do it. I can't even tell them like, well, but I can tell people how to move forward from having such a troubled life. And I can also tell a lot of it come from me. The way I thought, the way I dealt with stuff, the way I felt, you know, as much as I was like to say I didn't feel like I didn't want to be a victim, I did play the victim role in here. There's no victim role no more. There's just a role. Get up, do what you have to do, move on, and there's nothing to hide behind, because at the end of the day, you can't hide, because it's you that you're letting down, or it's you're building up. You can't hide. You just got to do what you have to do, and you know what's right. So basically, going from a dark world, I've come through, coming into the light, and the light's not just the light. The light is, I'm in awe of it, and it grows and grows, and yeah, I don't even need to talk much with the people anymore. On here I will, but there's nothing that really needs to be said. There's things that need to be understood, and when you go down that path and finally decide it's your time, this all awaits you. It all awaits you, and it's being free and having a level of acceptance is better than any money, any reward. It's like watching a beautiful sunset or sunrise for eternity with a nice breeze and just peace. But anyway, I'm gonna round up here. I've lost myself where I'm at. I'm gonna finish off, but as I said, thank you for your support. This channel's growing. It's getting bigger and better, and it's getting exciting. I'm putting work into it. I'm going to pick up my equipment, like get better quality recording equipment, editing equipment, and invest into this so this platform grows. It's, not for me. So as many people can turn their lives around. Because if I can do it, and some of the people I associate with can do it, fucking anyone can. I'm telling you, anyone can. Much love.